Hey guys, Chris Fix here. Today I'm going to show you how to replace a blower motor resistor. If your fan doesn't work on certain speeds, such as a low speed like in my case, or two speeds are the same, or if the only fan speed that's working is the highest speed, you probably have a bad blower motor resistor. So this is a blower motor resistor, and what this does, it looks complicated, but all it does is use those coils to restrict electricity. So when you have it on the lowest setting, it restricts it the most, so the fan doesn't blow as fast. And then as you move up, the higher you go up, the more electricity that this resistor allows to flow through. The problem is when you have it on the lowest setting, you're restricting the most amount of electricity. So that electricity has to go somewhere, and it creates heat, and this heats up a lot. So a lot of times these things just fry. They overheat, they melt, the connectors melt. So that's what a blower motor resistor is. And this is actually really easy to replace. Now these blower motor resistors are right next to the blower motor, and the blower motor is commonly found either underneath the dash here on the passenger side. Sometimes you could open up your glove box and pull out the glove box and it'll be behind there, or you go underneath and you just take out a few screws and a piece of plastic will come down and your blower motor will be right there. And the other location that the blower motor could be is in the engine compartment. You can see here I'm going to the passenger side of the engine compartment, and this is what a blower motor looks like. The blower motor is typically this round shape, and then here's the actual motor, and it's just a fan in there that spins around and sucks air from the outside of your car into the inside of your car. So whether this blower motor is inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle in the engine compartment, the blower motor resistor, this thing, is going to be right near it. It actually uses the wind that's generated by the fan to cool it. So what we're looking for is something that looks like this. And on this, it's actually right below here. So if I lift this up, you can see it right down there. It has an electrical pigtail and then a bolt there and a bolt there that connects it. So here are all the tools and parts you're going to need to do this job. It's very simple. Just need a ratchet with, in this case, it's a 8mm socket. I have an extension. And if you're replacing just a blower motor resistor, that's all you're going to need. But in my case, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to replace the pigtail because the pigtail looks like it's either fried or it's corroded onto the back of the current blower motor resistor. So since it's like welded on, it's probably shorted as well, or it's just not going to come off. So I'm planning on replacing it. And in that case, you just need wire stripper, black tape, some connectors, and then this came in the kit with the blower motor resistor. So let's begin. So as I pointed out, the blower motor resistor is right next to the blower motor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it easier for me to get my hands down there. I'm going to take off this pigtail that goes to the air conditioning system here. All you got to do, you just pull this tab back and then slide this out. And we'll just put that to the side. Also, we could remove the blower motor cooling duct here. It just provides air into the blower motor fan so it doesn't overheat. Just pull that out and then we could slide it down. With those two things out of the way, you could easily see where our blower motor resistor is, and we can get our hands down there really easily. I'm going to try to unclip mine, but I'm pretty sure it's either welded from the corrosion or from melting plastic. So here's the blower motor clip, just to show you what the clip looks like. There's two clips that need to be peeled backwards in order to pull this out. One on the top, one on the bottom. This top clip should slide a little bit when I pull on this before I can lift it, and it's not, indicating that this is actually welded in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to unscrew those two bolts. They're 8mm, and we're going to take out the whole blower motor resistor with the pigtail still on it. So you can see the two bolts that we need to get off. I'm using an 8mm with a short extension. We'll get this side first. Okay, we got one bolt out. Now we're going to go in here, get our other bolt out. Got the second bolt out. And now that both bolts are out, this will just come right out. Upon visual inspection, you can see there's rust, so I'm sure this is shot. You can also kind of see in that hole right there, it's rusty. That's where the pigtail connects. I'm going to try to get the pigtail off now and see if it's really rust welded on or plastic welded on or whatever. Okay, well I tried a couple of times. I used a flathead screwdriver to really get under there, and this isn't coming off, so we're just going to cut it off. And since we have all those wires removed from the wiring harness, this will come right out. Now one thing while looking at this wiring harness that I noticed right away, if you look, it looks like this has actually been done before. Somebody replaced this. This is a common problem on these Fords and Mazdas, and also many vehicles. I don't know why they can't design something better. So if you still have the complete factory wiring, your factory wiring is actually colored. So what you want to do when you cut this, you don't want to cut it right against the side of the plastic here. You want to give yourself some space, because then you'll be able to see which color wire goes where and you won't get the wiring mixed up. So whenever you're going to cut wires or mess around with the electrical system, it's always a good idea to keep everything off, keep the key out of the ignition, take the negative battery terminal off before you start cutting away. So now that we got our old blower motor resistor out, let's get our new blower motor resistor and install it. Before I install it, one of the biggest problems is water getting in here. It's in the engine bay. When I go off-roading, water does get up in there. Even if you're just driving around in the rain, water can get up in there. So what I have is some dielectric grease. If you want, you could use a Q-tip to get some grease in here. So pretty much what I just did is I just coated the whole outside of the plastic, so when you slide that clip in, it seals it really good. In my truck, when we're putting this in, it fits in this way. It'll only fit in one way, so if you have it upside down, you just have to twist it and get it in the right way. Now I'll just get 2 bolts in here to hold it in place. Just hand tighten it for now. Now we'll go in here and tighten these up. We'll tighten up the other side as well. And you shouldn't go crazy tightening these 2 bolts down, just make them snug. Good, so now we got the new blower motor resistor in there. If that's all you need, your job is done. Connect the pigtail and you're good to go. In my case, my pigtail is melted or corroded, so we need to strip these wires and put the new pigtail on. I'll show you how to do that real quickly. So with our wiring harness all spread apart like this, I'm going to cut the aftermarket wires right at their connectors. The aftermarket wiring harness has a lot of extra wire on it, which is good, but I don't need it all. So I'm just going to take this, kind of push it back down into place, make sure the connector reaches no problem, and it reaches no problem right there. So I'm going to cut off this right here. Good. Now the kit comes supplied with 4 of these connectors. They're crimp-on connectors. And with these crimp-on connectors, what you want to do is you want to get each side of the wire to that middle piece. So you can see that little mark on my wire. That's about how much you want to strip to so that you have a good connection. This is 10 gauge wiring. I'm going to show you one and I'll do the rest. It's all the same. All you do is you get your 10 gauge on your wire cutters right here, and you go to that mark you made and you close down on the wire, and then you twist the wire cutter around the wire. After you twist it around a couple times, then you just pull the wire and then you have a stripped wire. So I'm going to do the rest of these and then I'm going to strip the connectors on the wiring harness side. So I got both wiring harnesses stripped and ready to go, so now we'll connect them. So when we're looking at the pigtail here, this curled rounded piece, the clip down here, is on the bottom. So when we're making our connection, you can see the orientation that this is in. This wire here is going to be the green wire. The next wire is going to be the black wire. The top wire here is going to be the orange wire. And the bottom wire here is going to be a yellow wire. So the same thing goes for our new connector. Green, black, top is orange, bottom is yellow. First thing we're going to do is put the connector on the wiring harness down here. So you get your green wire and you just twist the end. Twisting the end is going to make it a lot easier to slide it in here. So just get your crimp connector, slide it all the way in. The wire should go all the way to the base of that crimp connector here, the metal part of the crimp connector. And when you push the wire all the way in, you just get the end of your wire strippers. It has like a piece here for crimping. You put it on the one side and you just crimp down. You test it by just pulling on it and you see that that's not coming out. Now we get our wire which attaches to the green wire, which is this one right at the end here. Twist the end, slide it in, make sure it goes all the way in, and then crimp it down. Test it and it's good. And now we'll tape this up. Good. So now it's nice and secure and it's nice and tidy. We're going to repeat this step for all of them. Now all 4 wires from the wiring harness are connected. I'm going to just put them together like this and then wrap some black tape around it, make it nice and neat. Now we have a nice neat bundle. The wiring harness is all taped up, looks good. Let's connect it and try it out. So now we'll connect our wiring harness to the blower motor resistor. Make sure you push it in all the way. Remember that we have this red connector that we disconnected up here. That gets pushed in until you hear a click. Now we're going to take our excess wiring harness and just tuck it in under here. Remember, we disconnected this, so just string this back around. There's a hole right here that this fits into, so just make sure that that is completely fit in there. There's this little stub here that gets pushed in underneath here, and then this opening here connects to that opening down there. So all our attachments are connected. We reconnected this wire here. We put this blower motor cooler duct on. We connected our blower motor resistor. Our wiring harness is tucked in a way. It's not rubbing against anything, not near anything hot. Okay, let's try it out. Remember to connect your negative battery terminal. We'll go start up the truck. The moment of truth, we'll put the fan on the top. There we go. Air's coming out on the lowest setting. That's awesome. Let's just check the other settings just to be sure. Air's coming out on that setting. Good. Air's even higher on that setting. And then obviously the full blast worked to start with. But now each fan setting works properly the way it's supposed to. So that's a job well done. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, remember to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. On the screen are going to be a few how-to videos. You can click on them or find the links to those videos in the description below. Also in the description below are the links to the Chris Fix Facebook and Twitter pages. Check it out.